Welcome to Patscast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And we got a lot to talk about this week, so let's get at it. This is our episode for November 7th, 2021.
Feist now side of the goal, angle up between the legs, centered, scores! Tanner Howe stays hot. McNutt, 2-on-1, 5-on-5 hockey, right side centered, Whitehead score! First of the season for Braxton. Hammond shoots off the crossbar, and it turns into a breakaway. Adam McNutt all alone, score!
Well, Chris, what a difference a few weeks can make, hey?
Yep.
And we're sitting at 13 games played, record of 6-7 for 12 points, and yeah, tied with Moose Jaw. I don't know how they decide the tiebreaker. They put us ahead on the website, but of course we split that series with them. And that occurred on this past Wednesday against Moose Jaw. What's your first kind of couple words about this game?
I think it was a good, tight game. They played pretty well. I think the third period was strong, holding that lead. They didn't get into penalty trouble, which was nice to see. Overall, it was like a tough, hard-fought win, I thought.
It was a tough fought game. It felt a little sloppy though at times. Now, this is the first time we both got to sit up in the press box and watch the game, and it was a really neat vantage to see. And when you sit a bit higher, things are a little bit slower. You get to see things develop a bit more. We did notice some. It just was a little bit sloppy. It could have been a little tighter, but they played well enough to win. Obviously, yeah, it was a tight one though. Hey, it came right down to the last second, really, of the game.
Yeah, you're kind of referencing that. We kind of noticed the breakouts were real sloppy, and you noticed Moose Jaw was pretty strong on breaking out of their own zone, and the transition was good, I thought, compared to Regina's.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe coaching staff wasn't maybe one area that weren't happy with, because they weren't super happy with the game, but they said they were happy with the win, but they said maybe it wasn't the greatest game overall.
Well, I mean, a couple of things. So again, not getting the first goal, so then you're playing from behind, kind of tough to keep doing that. But yeah, when you're referencing the breakouts, so from up high you can see it, and it didn't look like they were really breaking out. Sometimes they were just firing the puck and then
aimlessly,
for no reason,
and just hoping they would pick it up or not.
But it was interesting because it didn't even look like what they were trying to do wasn't working. It's like they didn't know what they were trying to do. It wasn't that it was a missed pass or it got intercepted. It was just like there wasn't a play there, and they just were breaking out and just tossing the puck down the ice and
hoping something happened.
Yeah. And luckily this game they did. It was nice to see 2 power play goals, right?
Yeah.
And I think, that Braxton Whitehead was not shorthanded, but right out of the penalty box.
Yeah, ended up being a 3-on-1.
Yeah.
McNutt is out and sets up Whitehead, and he had a really nice goal, I thought, on that one.
Yeah, that was really nice. And then really the game-winning goal with Bateman, just not really fancy, but
yeah, just getting pucks at the net.
Yeah. It seems to be the kind of philosophy. I don't have that stat right in front of me, but the Pats' shot totals are astronomical compared to other, going in, not to get ourselves, but into Brandon. They're really emphasizing, I guess, the shoot from anywhere mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I caught the end of the post game, and it was trying to blank on who was doing color that game, but he was like, yeah, usually, teams with a lead, maybe won't rack up the totals, and teams coming from behind like Moose Jaw was, they're just shooting, and they get a lot of shots, but not quality chances, right? Well, you look at the totals in the third period, Moose Jaw only had 7 shots and Regina had 14. So
yeah, and speaking of the third period again, but just for comparison, the Brandon game, they had 2 shots, I think it was, in the second period.
Yeah,
Brandon did.
That game was a little out of hand, though, right? So for Brandon.
Yeah. So, anyways, with the 2 wins against Swift Current, we were feeling okay. We knew this week was going to be a bit more of a test, and we got a chance to talk to Ken Schneider, the new assistant coach brought in with the Pats this year, and we got to talk to him a little bit about the feelings, how things have been changing, this win, the Swift Current wins, and just kind of how the team's been progressing over the last week. And it's a really good interview, so we will throw it to that now and listen to Ken.
When we scored that 4th goal to go up 4-2, that's our opportunity to maybe, put the game away, but we turn around and give them one right back. So, and then, it's late in the period and we give them life for, give them a chance, another opportunity for the 3rd period. So I don't know that we were in love with our game tonight. I think we got what we needed to get done. We did some things right late, but overall, I think, when we play the likes of Winnipeg or Brandon, those teams, not to take anything away from Moose Jaw, but we're going to need to play a little bit better on our own end. We need to be better defensively, I think, overall. Yeah, we haven't been in lead an awful lot, so I think that's the other thing that we're learning to play. How do you play with a lead? When we haven't had it, we've chased the game an awful lot. Again tonight, we give up the first goal in the game. But I give our guys credit that we battled back. It was nice to see our young guy, Braxton Whitehead, score a goal, a big goal for us. He was ready to shoot, and he's somebody that's worked really hard in practice. So, I think, in time, in those tight games, it'd be nice to get the lead once in a while. And then, of course, like tonight, we did. And learning how to play with the lead. And playing with the lead is all about really, making sure we put pucks in the right place and being good defensively, being on top of our check instead of, getting trapped 3 guys below the goal line, maybe make a play at their net, and then they stretch the puck up ice and we're caught flat-footed. And that happened several times tonight, and that's a dangerous way to play if you get into a track race. Yeah, that was really evident tonight. We got some good production out of our 2nd and 3rd lines, and they played outstanding. We're against good teams. Your top line isn't always going to score 3, 4, 5 goals a night. So we get a little balanced attack, makes it more difficult for teams to defend against us. Yeah, absolutely. I think even though the Swift Current's maybe at the bottom end of the division at this point. Those were important wins for us. We had gone 7 games without a win, so our confidence was waning. I think we'd be liars if we didn't admit to that. But so getting a couple wins, feeling better about ourselves, coming back to our own rink and practicing and going, oh hey, you know what, we can score, we can play, and so I think we're headed in the right direction. Tonight was a big win against a team probably of our caliber. And it was an important win in our own rink.
All right, Chris. So one of the things I like Ken was referring to is we talked about a lot about the players. They haven't been winning and how that's going to be they're handling it and dealing with it. But he mentioned even the coaching staff. It's tough. When you're losing 7 games in a row, and just what they have to bring. And it's not just the players that need to keep their heads above the clouds and not get too down on themselves, but coaching staff as well. And I think they get lost in that fold sometimes.
Yeah, and Evans mentioned that after the Brandon game, he said, we lost 7 in a row, but the coaching staff, they always stayed positive. They were always pointing out, the positive things, and oh yeah, we need to work on things, obviously, work on this, work on that, but they're always positive. So you can't, gone are the days you just pound them in, you just bag skate them, you guys lost again, yeah. bag skate, right? Like, gone are those days, and berating people, right? So, it's good to see, the 7-game losing streak. That's good. That's tough on everybody. And, for guys like Evan saying, it was a really, not a good experience, but it was a good, they handled it well, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. that. Is there anything else from the Moose Jaw game before we move on?
About the only thing I don't maybe is this. I don't know if we will talk about it now, but the Zach Smith injury. So he left the game and first star, and so it looks like he sounds like an ankle sprain ish. So
high ankle sprain. So they said X-rays looked good, so that's good. There's no breaks or anything like that. But watching him skate off, he looked pretty uncomfortable. So I don't know the time frame for that, 4 or 6 weeks, around there.
Just kind of 2 to 4, but they don't really know yet.
Yeah. So I guess good news that it's not a fracture or anything like that, but because just when he was skating off, it really reminded me of Evans that time he got injured, right? So good to hear, I guess, that it's not too bad. But it's tough losing that 20-year-old for that length of time. So, and it seemed like he was just getting going too, right?
Yeah, he finally got a goal here.
Yeah.
And, just started to roll. But
okay, well, into the Brandon game now. We watching this game, and by the end of it, I felt this was probably the most impressive game, I'll say, this season. It felt like it was like a team game. Like it was secondary scoring, it was early goals, good puck control, nice power play, the penalty kill was there. They were standing up for each other. Like it was just like it just could be a pivot point for this team. It felt like a big win like that, scoring that many goals, 6-1. The only thing that maybe would have made it better was a shutout. And like I said earlier, poor Matthew Keeper, he only had 2 shots in the third, and one of them went in.
I know he fully wants that one back, I'm sure. It was a week. It was not. Kind of just stuck through.
It wasn't even really a shot. It was bad. So that's too bad. But it was just a great game to be at. I'm sensing a little bit of a vibe difference with this team now, and with that one, it was kind of a statement win. Like, we're gonna beat the teams that we're supposed to. Brandon has a lot of excuses with injuries and this and that, but whatever. Like, we beat them and we beat them down, and they tried to bring the rough stuff, and we stepped up to that. Dubinsky defending Connor Bedard with a totally legal hit, totally fine, but Dubinsky said not gonna happen. Like, we're not doing that. We're not gonna let that happen. It's not gonna fly.
I'm not a fan of that. Like, if it's a big hit, it's a big hit, but when it's on like a superstar like that, it's a different situation almost, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from another guy getting lit up, but it's different because guys are looking to hit him and go out of their way to rough him up, and something's got to happen, right? Dubinsky, and we've seen Dubinsky step up for other guys too in the past, so he's not afraid of that. So, and he paid the price. He sat out for 17 minutes, but
so he ended up with the 10-minute misconduct, an instigator, and 5 minutes for fighting. So I don't know. So the officiating was a little. We're here to rag on the rest, but it was a little inconsistent because Kadu did the same thing. He chased the guy down to fight him, and he didn't get 2 or 10. So it was kind of odd. Yeah,
should have. I mean, it was the same thing. He went right after the guy after he took out Keeper, and I mean that was totally incidental. I mean, he fell down, took the goalie. You can call a penalty there. You cannot call, or if there's no penalty there, there's. I mean, I'm fine with that either way, if there was a penalty or not. But so he chases the guy down and fights him,
but there was no penalty for goaltender interference there.
Wasn't.
Whereas we got one. That's what I mean. Carrier kind of incidentally ran it, and it was the penalty. Don't get me wrong, but then they kind of do the same thing, and they don't get one.
Right. Yeah, that leads to the inconsistency again. The Carrier one again, like. They blow the whistle, and then he kind of let up, and he was like, "Oh, damn, the goalie's right there." And he didn't run the goal over; he just kind of bumped into him.
Yeah,
and then he gets a penalty. And then what's the weird part is, so we went back to the Evans thing when we were down 5-on-3, and Nyhoff got hit, and then Evans come in and gives the guy a cross check, a pretty high cross check, and whatever, he gets a penalty too. Well, this game here, I don't know who it was, whatever number it was, but he gave Carrier about 10 cross checks to the neck.
Just like oh yeah, vicious.
And there was no call there. Like, the guy gets 10 free cross checks to the neck, to the head. Like, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and Carrier deserved the interference fine, but then that guy was just like teeing off on him, and it was just okay. Like,
it was just like 2 hands, like, just pounded on him. It wasn't just like 1 or 2. It was like one after another. It was bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a little odd, the calls that they made or didn't make and
or
stuff.
The too many men.
Yeah, that too.
It hit one of their players like dead on them, and they're like, "No, it's okay." And then the same thing happens to us, and they do.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it was odd, but
yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
that's not here nor there, and really, we won the game 6-1, so we should be happy. And I think I am. Like I said, it was just a really interesting, good game to see. Like, it was a good team game. I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it, I think.
Yeah, and like those incidents, like Bedard getting hit, that can, and guys standing up for him, that can bring a team together, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, kind of be cliche, but I think that there's something to that, right?
Absolutely. So we did get to hear from Adam McNutt, the third star of the game, kind of having a good little run here. So I think he had an assist last game against Moose Jaw, and then had a goal here, and earned third star in this game. And it's a good interview. So we'll listen to Adam now.
Yeah, like you said, we've won a few in a row now, and the boys are starting to feel better about themselves. The 7 games that we took there wasn't too fun. So the boys have just been really energetic in their room. It's been good. It's been really good. I think just the team bonding aspect of winning by a great number really brings them together. We got some smaller guys on our team, and I just don't want people taking liberties on them. So it's kind of one of my roles is step in and take care of that kind of stuff too. So came out of the box and the puck was there again for me. So I just tried to get going as fast as I could and just shot it.
Now that's 2 games in a row. You stepped out of the box and there's the puck.
Yeah.
Is that maybe the hockey gods, helping you out there?
Yeah, the hockey gods are definitely on my side of the box for sure.
Right on. So that was Adam McNutt. One of the other things that was interesting about these couple games was really it's the second and third and defenseman scoring, right? You can look back and the top line of Nyhoff, Dubinsky, and Bedard didn't get anything over these last 2 games.
Yeah, right. You put up 4 and 6. You put up 10 goals,
and they weren't involved in any.
Yeah. And so I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. That's why I want to ask: is this a good or a bad thing?
I mean, it's not a bad thing when you got the other guy stepping up and scoring, right?
And I think that's what was missing in the last couple games.
Exactly right. So now once we get into this stretch here, you get the Red Deers and the Edmontons coming to town here.
Mm-hmm.
You need all the guys scoring, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Dubinsky. I mean, it wasn't for lack of trying. Dubinsky, he wanted to keep that point streak going.
Oh, and it's not that they're not getting their chances. All 3 of the players on that line had a lot of chances. They just weren't getting them, and they get the ice time and they get the chances, and they just didn't get any. And I agree, it's fine for now. I guess I'm interested or excited if these secondary, your second, third, and defensemen can keep this up, and then we get that line clicking.
Exactly. Then you can take on these top end teams and give them a good test, right?
Yeah. Like I think it's actually encouraging. It's a lot of room for improvement of people that we know then can step up to it. You're not asking people to play outside of a role, right?
Exactly.
Like this is your top line. This is what they're going to do, and they will. Hopefully,
they're obviously not going to score every single night either, right? So you can't expect them to score every single night.
I would expect something from that line almost every night. Yeah.
So okay. Yeah.
Between power play, because they get a lot of power play time. Like sometimes they're out there the whole 2 minutes.
But I mean, they're going to be they're game planning against that top line every night,
Fair
right?
enough. Yeah,
So
that's true.
at home, at least you get the last change. You can get away from some of the matchups. I mean, but on the road it might be a little tougher. So these teams game plan against them.
True.
That top line.
True. And I just feel like whatever's
there's enough
missing,
skill.
and it's not going to take a lot. And say when Bedard can start converting all these shots that he's taking, he's the leader in the WHL for shots. If he can start converting some, like, it's going to be an avalanche, and things could really go the right direction here. So
He's just missing by just a little bit. He's got. It feels like he's just on that tipping point, right? He's just gonna get one or two here, and it's just gonna go off, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think Dubinsky too. He'll get back. He had 11 games in a row and missed 2, but for points that is, and I think he'll get back going here right away.
Like you can tell, like we said before, his game is that next step up this year. You can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Anything else you want to say about that game?
That game specifically, I don't think anything else. I think
right on.
One thing I was thinking. Okay, yeah. So we said Brendan had, they had some excuses. They had some injuries, and their starting goalie got hurt the night before, and they played Friday night where Regina didn't. But then I was thinking, well, the backup goalie, that's who stymied us last time, right?
Yeah.
Like, he had a game and basically shut us out that first time we played Brandon. So it was good to see, get the first goal early. Like, it was maybe a bit of a lucky bounce, but I mean, we still had to score the goal. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah,
2 minutes in, we haven't had that yet this year. So
yeah, we're just getting a few more bounces this week, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so from talking about Bedard, one young player to the next. So we put up a poll this week for your guys' choice for player of the week, and he was the first guy on the list, so probably a bit of maybe unintentional bias from our side, but so Tanner Howe was, I think, someone we both thought would probably be on there, would be the player of the week. So we put him on the list, and he did come through this week as your choice as the Pats player of the week. So he had 2 goals, 2 assists. We did hear his name mentioned quite a bit in some interviews that we talked with coaching and other players. So what I'm going to do with those is clip them and put them out a little bit later. But just to summarize it, the overall impression of him is super positive. A guy that plays beyond both his physical stature, I think, and his experience, really, right? You had a good example of some really kind of experienced heads-up play from that Moose Jaw game, right?
Yeah, like it was late in the game, and they're up to 1 goal, and there was 2 forwards already deep, and you could see him at the top of the circle. Like, no, can't be the third guy. You got to have a third guy high, right? He's not a center. He's playing the wing, and Englad's probably down. There's probably Englad down in the corner battling like he has been all the time, and he's smart enough to know that I got to be the high guy since the center's low, right? You can't have 3 guys low, so stuff like that.
And I mean, this is flowing in from last week too. He had a shorthanded goal. He's really playing well. It's amazing, and it's an awesome pick. I think they said he's a 4th round pick.
I can't remember where he got drafted.
Either way, just really coming through as a young player, and really excited to see him progress through the year and see how that goes.
Definitely. And we even mentioned him, like, he's a guy that can probably play up. He's got the skill to play up. If there's like they said, the Smith injury is out for a while, you can move up and stuff.
Absolutely.
So 4th round, 73rd overall.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's a nice little pickup.
Right on. So just a few other updates. So we talked about Zach Smith's high ankle sprain, but Jacob Brook was out with an illness, undisclosed illness. It's not mono. We know that much, and it doesn't sound like it's COVID. So, and you said he's skating?
Yeah, Brad Harf mentioned it. He's skating. He's out skating, so, maybe he's close. He didn't really allude any more than that, but...
Yeah, Yeah, nice to see him get going. He's probably missing these wins and being part of the team for those because, they've been some exciting games lately, and he probably would have been right in the thick of it. Okay, any other Pats news you want to go over?
I don't think so. I think
right.
that's.
Let's move into some WHL news or scuttlebutt. One of the things I really noticed this week was just the whole change in the standings, right? Like it went from Winnipeg, Calgary, Brandon were right up there, and now it's just flipped. Like we've got Swift Current moving up, PA moving up, Brandon moving down, Lethbridge moving way down, Calgary down at the bottom. It's really kind of tight here between, when you look at the Eastern Conference, Regina in 5th, Calgary to 12. There's 2 points that separate all those teams. So lots of jostling of positions right now. I think it could come down. Yeah.
Winnipeg, they're out there 14-1, and then you got Edmonton, Red Deer, Saskatoon, 20 and 19 points, and then, like you said, the third tier, which is everybody else. Like it's neck and neck. So
yeah, it doesn't look like anyone's a complete dud this year. Like it's gonna be, I think every game's gonna matter. It's gonna be a busy or a tight season. Like you don't have just the Swift Currents to walk over, right?
Yeah, I know. Even PA taking 2 off Saskatoon this weekend. That's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah. So that was kind of neat to see. Quite a bit of movement there. The other thing we want to talk about is it's kind of been something we've been talking about a little bit, mentioning here and there, is just the rookie situation this year with kind of a weird year last year and just what the ruling is around that. So Connor Bedard won Rookie of the Year last year. And then was he still a rookie this year? You got a little bit more information on that, hey?
Yeah, Guy Fleming tweeted it out. He mentioned that 20 games is like the cutoff for rookies. So technically, Bedard is still a rookie, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But WHL site shows all those other 15s like Jaeger, Benson, those guys like that. They're marked as rookies this year, but they played more than 20 games last year. So it sounds like the WHL site is wrong. So
yeah.
So if you play more than 20 games, that's a season for you.
But Bedard only played 15.
Yeah, so then you go back to Bedard. He was the only one without a star saying he isn't a rookie.
Yeah.
Out of those guys that played last year. So I don't know. Maybe he's still a rookie and he's just not eligible for the award Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Something like that. But
yeah. Anyways, so 20 games. Unless you're Bedard. And the age, though, to 17 is the cutoff for rookie?
18. He can still be 18.
Oh, 18 even. Okay.
I think that's what he said. I think to look that up.
Maybe that's right. So as long as you're not Bedard and you've played less than 20 and you're 18 years or younger, you can be a rookie.
Yeah, I just didn't know what the cutoff the games played was, and now we know it's 20.
Yeah.
So
right on. Nice way to clear that up for us. Good. Anything else you want to mention?
I think that's about all I got.
Okay.
For this week. Next week coming up, we got some matchups.
It's been kind of neat. It's kind of a neat schedule. You move Swift Current, kind of get going. The next level up with Moose Jaw and Brandon, and then now we're kind of really taking it up the steps, right, with Red Deer and Edmonton. Lethbridge maybe not as much, but that'll be a good game. Zach Stringer playing his former team. Could be interesting to see how that goes. But some good tests here against Red Deer and Edmonton, and I don't know, I feel a little more positive, right? The team seems to be moving in the right direction.
These next 2 games will be definitely a litmus test to see how much they have really progressed. Maybe they caught some teams like Brandon and maybe Swift Current were down a bit, but these games are gonna have to have that 60-minute effort like they mentioned against the Brandon in the Brandon game.
Right. Well, busy week, 3 games in starting Wednesday, Friday, and then Saturday. And we will see you at the rink for those.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night. Patscast is a proud member of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. If you're interested in other homegrown podcasts with a wide variety of topics, check out saskpodcastnetwork.com.